It was a quiet winter evening in December 2024 when the first story surfaced. Jennifer, a 32-year-old mother from the small town of Oak Ridge, was heading home after a late shift at the local hospital. She'd taken this same route 1,000 times before, familiar with the twists and turns of the road. But tonight, something felt different. The night was unusually still, the kind of silence that seems to hang heavier than it should. As Jennifer turned the corner near the old mill, a flicker of movement caught her eye. She brushed it off as her tired mind playing tricks. But then the figure appeared again, this time much closer. It was standing by the side of the road, shrouded in shadows. Tall, unnaturally thin, its features were blurred by the dark. But the eyes seemed to glow in the dim light of her headlights. Jennifer slammed her foot on the gas, heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the presence, like it was following her, always just out of sight. But when she looked in her rearview mirror, nothing was there. Was it just a hallucination, or was something truly out there, watching her every move? The second story broke just weeks later. This time it was a group of friends, four college students, who were on a road trip through the back roads of Texas. They had planned to camp under the stars, away from the usual distractions. They'd found an isolated spot near a national park, far enough from civilization to feel at peace. But as night fell, a strange, unsettling chill crept in. One of the students, Mark, swore he heard someone whispering his name from the forest. At first, the group laughed it off, but then they heard it too. The whispers growing louder, more frantic, as if someone was trying to reach them. Mark insisted they leave, but the others wanted to stay, convinced it was just the wind. That's when they heard it, a loud guttural growl, followed by a bone-chilling screech. The group panicked, scrambling to pack their things and leave. But as they climbed into their car, they saw something dart across the road. Something fast, too fast for a human, and much too large to be an animal. It was then that they realized they weren't alone in those woods, and whatever had been watching them didn't want them to leave. Then there was the strange case that surfaced on the dark web. A hacker, known only as Cypher, had been investigating an abandoned military base in Nevada. The place had been deserted for decades, but rumors had circulated about secret experiments conducted there, some of them involving psychological warfare and mind control. Cypher's mission was simple: find proof. What he discovered, however, was anything but. In the deepest corners of the base, he found a series of files detailing experiments involving a creature. Something human, something not. Cypher posted the files online, but before he could expose everything, his connection was suddenly cut. His followers tried to reach him, but he was gone. His accounts wiped, his location erased. All that remained was a single cryptic video posted to an anonymous channel showing the creature in question, its eyes hollow, its body twisted, as if it had been twisted by some unspeakable force. The final message was chilling. They're still watching. By now the stories were beginning to pile up, each one more unsettling than the last. But nothing prepared anyone for what came next. A family in Nebraska had been experiencing strange occurrences for weeks. Scratching noises in the walls, objects disappearing, eerie whispers in the dark. It was enough to drive anyone mad. But when the family finally set up cameras to record, what they captured was unimaginable. Late one night, they heard something scratching at their bedroom door. When they reviewed the footage, they saw the door handle turn on its own, followed by the unmistakable sound of something or someone shuffling inside. But when they checked the footage further, the shadowy figure lurking in the doorway was not human. Its elongated limbs, skin pale and stretched too thin, sent shivers down their spines. The creature in the footage moved like it wasn't bound by the laws of physics. It stepped into their room, eyes glowing with an unnatural light, before disappearing into thin air. The next story was the one no one ever expected. In late February, a group of hikers in the Pacific Northwest stumbled across a remote cave. It was a place that local legends had warned them to avoid. But their curiosity got the better of them, and they ventured inside. What they found wasn't just a cave. It was a labyrinth of tunnels that seemed to stretch on forever. Some of the hikers felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something deep inside the cave was calling them. But it wasn't until they found the walls covered in strange, indecipherable symbols that things took a darker turn. One of the hikers, Sarah, touched the symbols, and immediately the ground beneath them shook. The walls began to crack, and a low, guttural growl echoed through the tunnels. The hikers tried to escape, but the cave had changed. The exit was no longer where it had been. They were trapped in a maze with something that was hunting them, something ancient, something evil. These were just the beginning of the stories, stories that made people question what they thought they knew about the world. In each of these, there was something unexplainable, something that couldn't be reasoned away. And yet, these were true stories that had left people scarred, confused, and terrified. But as you're about to find out, these tales are only the beginning. Because there are others far worse than you could imagine. And in the darkness of 2024, they're still out there, waiting for their next victim. The stories I've shared with you tonight, they all have one thing in common. They're all real. These were the scariest true stories of 2024. And as you sit there wondering what could possibly come next, I'll leave you with this final thought. What would you do if you were next? Would you survive? Or would you become part of the story forever? So before you turn off that light, remember this: the dark is never empty.